Okay, I think we're all here now, right? Marco.
Yep.
Okay, we're all here. We rejoin our intrepid adventurers after warp portaling in
Yes.
at the tower. It's kind of hard to tell where you all are, but Free already quickly takes out his cartography set and taking a look at the nearby surroundings to see exactly where you are on the map. The doors before you all look upon you with a glare, save for maybe Mugen and his sister. They say that they will set up camp slightly to the south, but they will not be far, leaving you all to your devices.
The further the better.
No, they're not that far. They're down here.
Ugh.
So, what do you guys do?
Discuss battle plans.
Alright, we made it in. Now what?
Well, we need to get our bearings, get a lay of the land, and talk to the dwarves about the tunnel, I guess.
Let's send someone up to the top of the watchtower, I guess. See what they can see.
Are we not at the top of the watchtower? I thought
Well, I mean, you all were at the
We're
bottom.
at the watchtower. We just got here.
Oh, okay.
We could send Iridan on a scouting mission.
Not a bad plan, actually.
I was
You
actually going to
notice-
say the rangers, and we should actually go ahead and form our scouting team and get you guys out there.
So, feel free to approach them. They, right now, after going through the portal, they're going through their things and kind of making their individual camps at the tower. They get straight to work. One gentleman who you had briefly met beforehand, who had volunteered to come with his assistants, approaches the party. He speaks in a deeper voice, aged, but his long white hair still seems to hold much of its luster. And he says to you, "Oh, wait, did the music stop for you guys?"
Nope.
Say what?
Stop for me. 1 second. Not the
I didn't
music.
even
Did.
know there was
That can happen. Just refresh, yeah.
Yep.
Roll
Gonna
20
refresh.
Just do that.
Yeah, Roll20 does do that sometimes. But again, he speaks in a aged voice with a subtle timbre. Says, "My name is Muthin. Remember, I'm the Abjuration Wizard supposed to come with you all." He had volunteered. If you would like, I can prepare a protection spell around the area harder for us to detect. The darkness still rests on the ground, and as you look towards the grounds, you see some of the shadows kind of wafting around still. So he has offered to begin his protection charm around the tower at the very least.
Yes, let's get started on that, actually, before we're noticed. Alright. I'm going to, Alex, I'm going to assign a scouting team. What I'm going to propose is our 3 rangers. That would be Lynn, Lisvin, and Nura. Morgan and Iridan. As well as Lyle and Wesley, because I think Wesley's magical knowledge would be helpful with that. Also, not saying this to anyone else, but I will like specifically tell Lyle, like, hey, your job is keeping an eye on Wesley specifically.
So make sure he stays out of danger.
Yes, you two are supposed to like. You two are least combat heavy, but I need you guys out there with the scout team because that's where you're going to be most useful.
All right. So Morgan, Taliesin has offered you a chance to scout with the 3 rangers, Lyle and Wesley.
You'll be the head
I'm
of
going to take that
squad.
opportunity.
Pardon?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to take that opportunity.
All right. So I don't think you got me an image of your onkeg, so I'm just going to mark green as your onkeg, okay? Your teenage onkeg.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
totally.
when we're moving, my plan is to have the rest of us in a main group with the Onghegs shortly behind us.
Yes.
Watching our rear, since they're the fastest. Morgan, I guess like you have a whistle or something to call for them, so they can come to you if you're in danger. They'll get there before like we can.
Very cool. All right, so actually, real quick, I'm actually going to give you control of these characters, so you can kind of move them around and cordon them off how you want. I have to do it manually, I think, for each one.
Yep.
Controlled by all players. Maybe I should have done this before the session started. But hindsight is 2020.
Well, either way, we can just put me and the two wizards over here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're doing right now. We're gonna get that started.
I think you should have access to be able to move them now.
Yep. If you could make them drawings, that'd be great. But that's you should.
They're gonna have health in the future. They're gonna have health in the future.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can live with that.
All right. So, with that, Lynn and Vis, sorry, wow. Even I get mixed up with that, Vin and Liz. Just
I'm
so
sure
you guys
they've
know.
gotten that all of their lives.
Yeah, seriously, they've gotten that all their lives. But Vin is the one with blonde hair with green eyes, and Liz is the one with silver hair and gray eyes. So, the two of them kind of step forward, and you notice Vin doesn't do much of the talking. She just kind of crosses her arms and lays up to the side. Whereas Liz speaks up and says, "So you want us on a scouting mission?"
Who's saying that to?
To Taliesin, who they assume was the one talking about orders.
Yeah, I'll leave the details of that up to Morgan. But we should get started as soon as possible, just to get the information out on the field.
All right, well, we're ready. Okay, light touch. Are you ready to go with us? And she says, looking over to Morgan.
I mean, she's already ready to go.
Okay, so all of you kind of like group up together. Lyle, Wesley kind of hobbles over, and with the party, Morgan, can you do a ranging into thing? So which one do you want to do? Do you want to think? You don't have to worry about food, so it's one or the other.
Wait, does this count as a perilous journey?
This does definitely count as perilous journey.
This is quite.
Oh yeah.
Also, goddammit, I can't completely invalidate your class mechanic, so Alex has got to work it in when he can.
So, because I have Strider, and I can take 2 of the rolls now.
Oh my god! So if food is not an issue, you just fucking do it. You do all of it. You got them carry the team. You're like one person carrying the entire scouting party.
And that's kind of the idea. They're really just extra eyes for Morgan.
Mm-hmm. And also backup just in case.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like one of them has like a horn on them, probably.
Yeah, we could say.
Yes.
Probably Nguyen, right?
No, Nura,
Yeah,
actually
Nura.
the most experienced out of all of them, would know these forests pretty well. In fact, you are treading on some of her homeland from when she was younger. And she kind of shows you and leads you the path. She doesn't speak much. She just tends to gesture. Much of her expressions are very focused on the terrain. Her ears twitch at the sound of the snap of a twig. And it seems that she can hear things earlier than even you can, Morgan. But nonetheless, she is very impressed in what you can do. The only few words she actually says to you the entirety of the trip, and she looks over to you. She doesn't even look directly at you. She's looking at your feet, your hands, all the little subtle movements you make in the woods. And she says, "You have keen senses, light touched." It's the only thing she says to you the entire journey.
You have keen senses, light touch. That's
Yes.
it.
No, the keen senses, light touched.
Oh, okay.
They're calling you light touched because you got the moonlight up in you. Better than Avatar.
No, it's not.
So,
They
He's
wouldn't
right,
call
you
you
know.
that though.
and I'm gonna let you range off into the north. Meanwhile, the 3 knights, after setting their gear, and the tallest of them, Richter, beginning on the camp, one gentleman stands up and offers. So Baldric, so Taliesin, my men and I will begin patrols.
I'll look up from getting out my spell supplies and arranging things with. I'm gonna have to look up everyone's name for a little bit here. Muthin and Freak. Yeah, that sounds great. I kind of gesture to Baldric like, "Hey, that's your. You do that."
I'll go with him.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's-
Baldric is going with them.
Yeah,
and
these are your people. You're in charge of them. Khalgrast
Yeah.
is in charge of the rest. Amma actually, specifically, I need her watching the onkegs and like.
Oh no! Right now, you
Yeah.
see from the corner of your eye, Alma's just like giggling and laughing, riding on top of the onkegs.
Okay, so she's already on top of that. Great.
She's way on top of that right now, with Roscoe actually learning how to transform into an onkeg, but Roscoe accidentally put fur on the onkeg, so it's a bit of a very interesting sight. Accidentally having fur and then realizing his mistake.
I'm sure that's
But,
very upsetting.
it's a bit assaulting to the eyes, especially because the onkegs have a very earthy kind of skin color, and the fur on top of the onkegs is this bright orange. So, anyways, Harold.
I'm not going to say anything, but that does leave Khalgrast as our liaison with the dwarves. At
What?
least the ones that we have to deal with.
That's a huge mistake.
It'd be better if Khalgrast went with the patrol then.
I mean, you are in. Well, maybe in that case then, if you want to send, we want to send Khalgrast and
Drugar.
Drugar.
All these names that you'll have to
Yeah,
remember.
there's a lot of names.
It's okay. It's okay. I remember them all because they're all my children.
I mean, you also have a list, I'm sure, right in front of you.
No,
You're a smart boy. No?
I remember them all because they're my children.
Oh, I see.
It is a list.
Anyways, so the Drugar turns over the Khalgrast as well. So we go! Smash orcs now, yes?
We look for orcs to smash at least.
No, you watch the perimeter and keep an eye out in case any orcs come to smash us. We're not looking for trouble just yet.
You bring me to the wrong place, he sighs. But okay, I play your game. And he goes with Khalgrast.
Alright, let's go.
You notice as Matthias salutes over to Baldric and Taliesin, corner of your eye, you see Richter seeing Khalgrast. Sorry?
Sorry, go ahead. Just a knight named Matthias.
Yes. What's wrong with that?
Daniel, you handle that.
Shut up.
It's a long story. We'll
Can
find
we
out later.
not do that?
I just realized.
But Richter sees Khalgrast and Drugar, and suddenly he just kind of like stands up and flares his chest a little bit, trying to make himself a little bit bigger.
Oh, did we just fucking laugh? Are you kidding me? This guy, what's he doing?
No, he's trying to make himself look like he's tough.
Okay, sure,
Thank-
buddy. Just follow us.
Thank
And
you.
he nods.
These knights are some of Alira's.
They were
Her name
Alara's
right?
men, but
Alara.
you
I
do,
was close.
yeah.
I was just trying to remember her
But
name.
you
Yeah, these are
do
Alara's
you
men.
do remember though, all three of these, Baldric would recognize their faces the most, but these three had fought, albeit in worse gear, in the Battle of Dawngate.
So
Battle of
they
the
already
Dawn
know
Gate.
what Drugar's capable
Yeah,
of.
Drugar and
That's what I was
Khalgrast.
getting at.
But I guess what Richter is really trying to do right now is trying to make himself look respectful, because he may or may not idolize one or both of you.
Oh, no, this guy's cool with me.
And
He wants to be a...
and the five of you go off to patrol the nearby area.
All right. So that does leave Baldric to go talk to our dwarf friends and let them in on our part of the plan. That
Harold
being-
comes out
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
and says, you guys brought ale. I accidentally forgot mine back there. I'll take that as a no.
No. Sorry.
Damn it.
Nope.
Alright, I guess I'll have to get smashed some other way. Alright, Baldric! I'm gonna follow you and stand back and laugh at whatever you do. Is that okay?
Please hold back the laughing.
He just kind of looks at you and blinks.
He has
I
a
look
lot
very
more
serious.
laissez-faire when he's sober.
Yeah, seriously. And he decides to follow after you. So let's deal with Baldric first. Headed down to talk to the dwarves.
You know, I am about to talk to the dwarves down there. It'd be nice to have less laughing on our side.
You see him. We turn the camera back to Harold, already looking through his sack again to see if he can find Elle, and he looks up. So, oh yeah, sure, whatever you said.
Anyways, Taliesin, what exactly would you like me to get from them?
Just specifically, I need everybody on the same page. Just as a refresher to you, our plan is we want to get to the plateau, find one of the underground entrances, or like somewhere we can get in if they really don't have anywhere we can get in nearby. We want to reach the top of the plateau with the mines, which we do know from Khalgrast that that's going to be at least mostly possible. And I want to make a small breach. Our goal is to do this as soon as possible, get up to the top of the plateau without the orcs realizing that we're there, and then do some sabotage, guerrilla tactics, really just mess them up while our dudes get into position. And as soon as our people are in position and engaging, or at least as far as the time scale goes, because we just kind of have to assume everybody's working on the right clock and that nothing happens, and if something bad happens, maybe we'll get a missive, maybe we won't. Then we move in to stop the ritual right before it's starting, or right before it finishes, I should say, because we're kind of ending on like the last possible day.
Okay, so basically you want me to find out the location of some dwarven mines.
Mm-hmm. And also convince them that it's a good idea for me to blow a hole in the top of one.
Sounds good.
Although maybe there's an exit out there at the top. I don't know. But that's got to be known to the dwarf or the orcs, right? And I don't think we can be very sneaky out of that. Taliesin's just kind of mumbling to himself, thinking out loud while you walk away.
Okay, so Baldric, you can go ahead and walk down there.
Okay, I got out some liquor in my skin.
And Harold just looks at you and just scowls.
I kind of scowl back.
And go ahead, keep going, all the way down to the camp. They're all there, and you approach. You approach. Oh God, I forgot these were my children, but there's so many names.
We'll get them all.
So Mugen, Satine,
It might
and
not be
the
fair just to put name plates on everybody.
That's what I do, and just hide them from players.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how I do it too.
In which case, it's good for my memory at least. But Mugen and Satine are there, kind of eating their food, whereas one dwarf kind of sees you walking up and kind of scooches over on the log next to him and says, "The human, why don't you join us for some nice food and drink?"
I've got some liquor. I was hoping I could share with you guys.
Oh, of course you may share it with us. What kind of liquor is it?
Elven titty wine. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's
Nice.
gotta be from your homeland, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Some nice Ornstein wine here. Would you like to try some?
Ornstein, oh, I knew you were a man of culture. He kind of toddles a finger at you, and Harold kind of comes up and says, "You never offered me Ornstein wine."
Well, sit down and have a drink.
And
There's
he
enough
says,
for everybody.
"Well, can't complain about that." And pulls up a log and sits down and drinks.
I want you to know I pour Harold significantly less.
I mean, it's probably just enough for a glass for everyone, but it's more the symbology of it.
Yes, exactly.
Khalgrast, I hate my people.
Wait. What do you guys toast to?
Oh, well, we'll toast to success on the mission.
Yes, success. Now, I recognize you. You look familiar. You come from Ornsia, yes?
Yes, but that's not important, okay?
But it is to
I
me.
thought it would be important. Well, we need to update you on what's about to happen. I mean, you do want
Oh,
to know
you don't
what's gonna
have
be
to
going
worry about that. He kind of says and looks at you. He says, "All we're really here for is Khalgrast. Now, tell me, really, do you care about this man?"
on. Khalgrast. Well, he has saved my hide a bunch.
Yes, but no, but like, don't you think that if you bring home a Dwarven contract to your Ornstein blood, how much prosperity that would bring you? And he starts to look at you, and his eyes kind of narrow.
This is this gentleman talking, yeah?
Yeah, that's the gentleman, yes. He has actually not introduced himself fully.
Yeah,
He did see him. And which, by the way, Mugen says, Bromdet, shut your hide and just eat the food. And says, no. This is a man of importance. And he kind of looks over to Baldric, and his eyes grow wide and says, don't you want to create a connection? No human in Ornstein has made a strong connection with the Golden Scales before.
Well, you are true. But that all hinges on whether this battle, is successful. I guess you'll have to forgive me, but I'm a bit focused on what's about to happen right now.
Yes. Short lives with humans, after all. You need to make something out of it. And Satine shoots Bromdet a glare, and is just staring daggers. And Hero just pays no mind to this and just continues to eat the food. He looks at you as free food, kind of shrugs and eats.
Anyways, I get out. Well, I assume I would have gotten the map. And I get it out, and I kind of point and I say, we're looking to get to this plateau, but we were wondering if we could perhaps make use of one of your dwarven tunnels or mines.
Mugen looks up and says, may I see that? And he takes the map and looks. Well, unfortunately, most of the orcs have driven us out of those mines.
Oh.
There's a few entrances to the south over here, not too far down this pass, but you'll have to fight through I don't know how many hordes.
Are there any other abandoned tunnels we could use?
There's a few, but they tend to be more dangerous. Either hazards like free-flowing lava, perilous cliffs. They just snark at my free-flowing lava. Listen.
I mean, if Taliesin can overhear, he would definitely scoff a little bit. It's like, lava, like that's gonna stop us. Like, no, that's obviously.
I know. In comparison to, a god, that doesn't seem like much, honestly.
Please miss me with that shit.
But basically, we need to find a way to sneak from where we are right now to this plateau. We're hoping to go underground as to avoid detection by the orcs. We want to take them by surprise.
And Mugen takes a quick breath and scoffs down part of his chicken leg and looks at you again. Well, there is one way, but I'm not sure if they figured it out or not. It seems that when they had gone underground, they had already known what much of the layout has been. That's what caught us by surprise too. Between you and I, Baldric, the only reason why we decided to help, well, one of the reasons, a big, strong reason, is trying to figure out how they knew all of our underground tunnels. And Bromdet says, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. We didn't lose anyone. And Mugen kind of scoffs at that. Says, yes, but those mines were our forward defense. We may not have lost any casualties, but just how much do they know? And he kind of gives a somber look, looks down at his feet. How do you respond to that, Baldric?
Rook, just to remind you, that sort of matches what we know about how the orcs are able to tap into, like, the ley lines of the forest. Like, they've kind of co-opted the elves' own, as far as we can tell, like, their, like, spiritual, like, connection to the land is being interrupted. So there's very likely something going on like that with the dwarves.
Yeah, I would like to mention that. We did notice that they seem to be tapping into, I guess you could call it, almost the ley lines of this area. It's how they were able to get the upper hand on the elves so easily.
Satine picks up and says, the elves do have had some issues lately with tapping into the energies. See, we are from the mountains. We don't really notice anything too different, so it's hard for us to give you a straight answer. But The earth is of our own, the rock is of our own, so if the orcs have figured out a way to do that, that's not good. Bromdet, we need to help them. And Bromdet says, I will not put the lives of the dwarfs in Baldric's hands.
I kind of lean in a little bit and say, do you know what's been going on up north? I guess with the humans. I know you haven't had much contact with them.
Bromdet kind of looks over to you and raises an eyebrow.
You see, one of the troubles we ran into up north is they had besieged an area, trying to get to the gates of Doan. Is that correct, Alex?
Yeah, that gets it done.
They used their shamans to kind of wreak havoc in the area, and they actually managed to almost summon their demigod. Or is it an actual god?
No, it's a
actual
god. It's a
their
god-ass god. They know Demi in it.
It's
the sun.
Actually, sorry, I don't know
No,
why
it's
I
missed the
called them
subtext. It's
God, it's
literally
fake.
the sun.
And honestly, if it weren't for Khalgrast fighting, arm wrestling with Shiogarth, is it Shio? What is it again?
Shigara.
Shigara, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Khalgrast arm wrestling with Shigara, we would have lost.
Literally arm wrestling. Remember that? I fucking remember. And Bromdet's, you may be right, but he still broke Dwarven law, and he will face the Dwarven Council where he will answer to his actions. That's much is certain. And Satine and Mugen, they kind of look at you and they say, such is the way.
But what about the rest of your people?
What about the rest of my people?
Do you not worry about the safety?
Oh, the Iron Mountains have weathered hundreds upon hundreds of wars. We will be fine. All this stuff up here is cakewalk compared to the demons of the south. They are the true enemy. He takes a finger and kind of presses against your shoulder a little bit aggressively.
And
And
how
Harold-
many of those enemies have managed to infiltrate your mind so quickly?
And Harold sees the fact that Bromdet is poking at your shoulder and haphazardly, kind of in the middle of a chicken leg and drinking a swig of that unseen wine. Oh, you want to keep that finger? And Bromdet gets kind of
It's okay, Harold.
Pardon?
I just, kind of tell Harold it's okay.
And Harold kind of just glares at Bromdet, and Bromdet goes and says, we can cut off the mines at any moment from the north. The reason we have chosen not to is because some of us, he kind of shoots a glance over to Mugen and Satine, still think it's worth it to deal with northerners. But that's just my ideals and my plans. What I'm truly here for is Khalgrast. And you help me get Khalgrast, Baldric. And he kind of leans real close again. His nose is very uncomfortably close to your face.
Chris.
And he looks you in the eyes as his beard, kind of bushy beard, like there's a stench of Dwarven mead and half-eaten bits of food.
And hardtack.
Definitely hardtack.
This guy wants to get punched in the mouth real bad.
And he looks and says, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, yeah? I mean, after all, don't you want to go home, Baldric?
Well,
Go home a hero.
you certainly are a man who knows his business, I'll say that.
We of the Golden Scales know everything that we need to know. And Mugen kind of through again, drinking his cups as well. You certainly didn't know how they figured out the mines. And the two of them shoot a glance, and we're gonna put a pause on that. And the scene switches over up to Taliesin, Fleeg, and Muthen. And Muthen looks over to Taliesin and says, I recognize you.
I just like look up from what I'm doing, like not turn my head, just eyes up,
You-
looking at him.
You used to go to the academy, didn't you?
A few years ago.
Hey, I taught upperclassmen when you were in your first years, I assume.
I just kind of keep doing what I'm doing here. We're I guess we're gonna be like walking the perimeter, getting out of ritual circle.
Yeah, you're actually going to be doing in the dead center of the tower. At the very top, there's
okay.
like you're going to be kind of like encompassing the area, and Frigg is taking notes. Frigg isn't actually a part of the ceremony. He's only just an apprentice, so it's just between you and Muthen right now.
Right.
But Frigg is helping out with giving you the materials. He seems pretty competent and fairly capable, despite being about, I think, 16, 17 is around his age. How he looks right now. He doesn't say much. Just follows the orders of Muthen very, very faithfully. And he looks over to you and says, I heard about why you left. Quite curious when I heard your name rummaging in the south here, he says, kind of starting to begin the ritual.
I kind of have a small smile at the corner of my mouth, thinking back to the very public argument that, like, predicated my leaving the university. Oh, you heard about that, huh?
Everyone on campus heard about that. Well, as you can tell, I'm pretty sure you can see my disposition, considering I'm all the way out here and not in the safe confines of the university. I recognize your plight, Taliesin, and I applaud you. Hopefully one day Frigg can follow in your footsteps. Frigg doesn't say anything, he just continues to help with the ritual circle. And once the ritual circle is complete, he kind of steps back.
Let's hope.
He takes a bow and he finds a chair. Or he doesn't find a chair, just no chairs up at the very top. He just sits cross-legged as he looks upon you and his mentor and writes notes as he starts to begin the ritual. And the abjuration before you says, "You are familiar with the 9 shields, correct?" You are familiar with this? Yeah, one of the first abjuration things you've studied.
Okay, it's like just a basic abjuration spell.
It's not, well, it's one of the first things you learn, but not actually do because it's very advanced. Not a lot of abjuration wizards can actually do this.
Oh, so it's a iconic abjuration.
Yes, it's iconic. So it's sort of like learning about
magic
like,
missile.
like learning about magic missile.
Fireball.
Yeah, exactly. Learning about it and doing it are 2 different things.
Yeah. I got you.
Right, and he looks at you and says, "I will be doing it at a very heightened level. Will you be able to keep up?"
I'm rolling up my sleeves.
You're rolling your sleeves? Alright, so and the both of you, both together, start to conjoin your abilities, and you're going to roll an int check here, just the regular spellcasting check. It's an 8. Alright, so it's pretty standard. You can't really forget the spell, so choose one of the other options there.
Yeah, well, we know we're gonna have a few days here anyway, so we're just gonna take that whole -1 forward to spellcasting.
Okay, you're gonna take the -1, so you're pretty spent. Like the arcane energies. Muthen is so elegant with his movements, and it's almost as if he's teaching you a lesson here about how his arms move and how there's an art to spellcasting more than just what's written in a textbook. In fact, his tome that is close by isn't actually open right now, but the pages, they seem to flip through it as arcane energy wafts through the air surrounding you, and this brilliant show of the several different colors kind of melded together. And from the corner of your eye, you see at the edge, and everyone actually, Baldric in the middle of the conversation, Alma, and even Morgan and Khalgrast, you kind of look behind. There's like a light that shimmers and pierces the darkness above that's covering all the trees, and the energy pushes away the mist like darkness around you. And for the first time in a while, you look down, and there is no darkness. It's just the regular earth and trees and leaves on the ground. A sore sight for eyes that have only seen darkness for the last few days.
Well, that's not very subtle.
Not from the inside, but from
not
the
from
outside.
the inside, but from the outside, it's very different, which Morgan will see. But anyways, the both of you, and as you both finish the ritual, he takes a breath in and almost does like a meditative kind of hands to his, moving down from his chest to his hips, closes his eyes, and he says, "It normally would take 50 years for someone to learn that ability, and you were able to keep on your feet. You are quite skilled, Taliesin. It was the right choice to leave the university." Hopefully one day you'll go back there and show everyone what you have learned, and prove the headmasters wrong. I can only imagine the look of... and he kind of smiles and looks off to the side. The look of distaste on their face when you do prove them wrong. Frigg and I will maintain the spell. You do not need to worry for me, but I will maintain the spell every 8 hours. Please do bring up sustenance, for my body will be very taxed during this process. And he sits in the center of his ritual circle. He puts his hands on his lap in the lotus position, and he closes his eyes. And you do notice something different about Muthin before you. He, a lot of the techniques he's employing isn't techniques from the university. You kind of get the idea. You look in you see how the ritual is created around, and you see that much of the markings and much of the elegance is similar to elven magic.
Yeah, what is this guy's race actually?
He's human.
He's human. Okay.
He's human. And you notice, you do see on his neck he is wearing the marks of the university, and he has there's a symbol on the wrists, like they wear bracelets determining what their rank is, quote unquote, in the university, like how powerful of a wizard they are. Mm-hmm. And it ranges from 1 bracelet to 5, and he is wearing 4 bracelets. And the headmasters would wear 5, but headmaster is more of a title. You get 5 ceremoniously, but that doesn't mean you're a 5th level wizard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
To put into perspective, you would have 5 right now, based off what you have learned, because you're level 7 at the moment, right?
I'm actually level 8.
Yeah, you're at the.
I'm kind of at the pinnacle here as far as personal magical power.
But into university, you're just the 1 bracelet. That's how they kind of rank.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
But he's
this
wearing
guy
4.
is like, what's his like philosophy with magic? Then is this like it's something I've encountered before? He seems like
not at the university.
Not at university.
You can tell, like, the way he's dressed, the way his items are, the way his belongings are. He's much of a pilgrim. And Frigg does not have any sign from the university. In fact, Frigg looks like he is just a regular commoner that's come along the way.
Yeah, this is just some kid he picked up who had some talent.
Maybe. Who knows? You haven't spoken to him about that.
I'm just totally assuming that, yeah.
Yeah, you're assuming, right? That's what you've extrapolated. That's fine. But Muthin right now, he has closed his eyes, and you notice, like, you can see sort of this astral image projecting from behind him, continually maintaining the spell. And Frigg finally walks up to you and speaks in a very quiet but very firm tone, says, "Usually Master Muthin likes to be alone when he keeps this. I will escort you down when I need you, and when he needs you, I will find you. Is that okay?"
That's fine with me.
All right, Master Taliesin. And he kind of leads you down, and the magic continues to emanate from the top of the tower.
Okay, I'm gonna go check on... I'm gonna look down to the south. What's Baldric?
Baldric is from when you come down the tower, you see, he's all you see is Bromdead, just like an inch from Baldric's face right now.
I'm not
That's all you
involved
see.
with that. I'm gonna go check on Amma and the Ankegs.
Okay, and we'll get to that.
See if they're ready.
As we head up to Morgan, Wesley, Lyle, Iridan, Vin, Liz, and my babies.
My babies!
And Nura.
Whoops, I rolled that as
So, the 7 of you, counting Iridan, because he's totally a character at this point, are you riding on top of Iridan, or are you kind of ranging in front?
No, I'd be riding on top of Iridan.
So Iridan is walking through, and after being complimented by Nura, in fact, the only word she says so far on like this 30-minute trek, kind of scouting ahead, okay, so which direction do you want to go? North, south, east, or west? West is towards the actual altar place, so where would you like to go?
So west is toward the altar?
Yes, west is towards the actual altar, and north, the other is just around the encampment.
I would actually want to go see what they have, like, towards the altar, just to see what type of defenses they have.
Okay, sure.
Keeping in mind, you cannot be seen. If you blow our cover, like on day 1 of 3, that's a bad scene.
It's bad juju.
Alright, so List steps up and says, light touched. Do you want me to set some traps in the nearby area? She looks at you with excitement in her eyes once again. She's wearing a cloak very much similar to how her twin is dressed, and her silver hair kind of reaches down to her collarbone. She looks at you with a youthful face, and in elven years, she's actually not too old. Very very excitable and very perky compared to Vin, who's a little bit more quiet and reserved, who doesn't sport any ranged weaponry, but instead has two very great, beautiful scimitars kind of on her back right now. She's staying really close to the ground, and you notice her and Nura, both of them are kind of feeling the dirt, taking their hands underneath the darkness and feeling what the earth is like. So anyways, Liz looks up to you and says, "No mind to put some traps in the area?"
Thinking, because I don't want traps down, because then they know something's in the area.
That could be something that you could discuss with the team, actually. Remember, you have these people to bounce these ideas off, and they know the area and might have ideas here.
Is there some sort of trap that might be, when it's triggered, it just alerts us of their presence as opposed to doing anything towards them?
That actually would be a question I would ask.
It's magical traps.
Trap that just alarms us and not exactly,
Wesley's ear just perks up immediately, and he raises his hands.
Alright, that will work.
And Liz goes and says, "Well, I mean, he could do the alarm, but I could do some other things, cut them by the ankles, trip them up. You really sure you don't want any other traps like that?" She really.
Sure, for right now, we want to stay as low profile as possible.
And all right. And she kind of scratches her chin, kind of slouches a little bit, and you just hear from Nura. And immediately, Liz's kind of whole body stiffens, and the color from her face kind of leaves. And she goes, "Yes, you're right, Morgan. I'll let you do what you do." And she runs off back to where her twin is. And Wesley looks to you, Morgan, and says, "Where would you like the trap?" And he gestures in the air. He doesn't say. He gestures in the air. Well, arcane energy kind of flowing towards you. Where would you like the trap? And as this happens, Morgan, Wesley, Nura, and Vin.
Lyle's there too. Don't forget about
Yes. I know Lyle's not there, but the four of you have a reaction to this. There's a reason why I didn't say those other names.
Okay.
Lyle's there too, I know. But the four of you immediately... the four of you immediately feel like this reverberating energy coursing from where you left off, and pushing out this wave of arcane force, and you look to the ground, and much to your shock, the darkness has left. In about 5 minutes to your west, you notice there's a veil, like a shimmering veil, where the ground is pushed out towards the edge of the circle, and you see the darkness kind of trying to push through the veil, but is as if kept there, as if by a closed door. Some of the darkness does waft underneath, but then it gets pushed back out.
Kind of like an equilibrium going on.
Almost. And Wesley just kind of goes, he looks in, it shows a lot of interest to that. He kind of walks over to the shimmering veil, starts to walk over, and then realizes, wait, I have to trap the place. And looks back at Morgan and gestures again, where should I put the trap? Or not sure, where should I put the alert?
Behind us.
Okay, so he wants to put behind you guys. Were you coming towards the closer towards the camp then?
Yeah, closest towards the camp.
So he kind of kneels on the ground and he pushes his palm onto the earth, his left hand, and his right hand kind of collects some of the energy and places it on top of his left hand, and a pulse into the ground. Some of the dust and the leaves kind of jump from where he placed it, but then as he removes his hand, there's a singular rune there, and you notice that it extends out a few feet, so that if anyone goes the same path that you just went, Wesley would be alerted. And The five of them, all of them, kind of group up with you again, and you continue westward. Do you pass the veil into the darkness?
I'm gonna have to.
I mean, considering.
Well, okay, so from where I am, what can I discern? Like,
Go ahead,
can
roll.
I see anywhere? Oh,
Discern realities.
That is like literally. You done said the word.
I done said it, yeah. You want me to roll? Is that wisdom?
It's
Right?
wisdom, yep. It's wisdom. Oof. It's hard to tell.
Isn't it?
Well, you mark a success.
What?
Failure. You mark
Failure, sorry, you
experience.
mark an experience. That's what I meant to say. You mark experience. It's too hard to tell. So, do you continue past the veil, or do you not? Because you notice the veil of magic itself is keeping the darkness, but like it creeps up the veil, so it's very hard to see through. Kind of like you're looking through a fog door.
I'm gonna push my arm out of the veil.
Nothing really happens except for the fact that the veil kind of wraps around your arm. It doesn't feel like anything. You know there is something there because there's fractions, not fractions, there's distortions in the light. You can walk through without any incidents.
Hey Morgan, you could also try to spout lore, since you've been dealing with Khalgrast and Taliesin and all this magical bullshit.
Like 1 second. Sorry, the dog was not part of a deal. I knew it was watch my nephew, not the dog.
I see.
That's fine. Do you need to deal with the dog real quick? Or you good?
Oh no, he's in my lap now, so
Oh, okay.
that's where he's gonna be for a while. What do you want for a spout lore?
Intelligence. Alright, so one interesting thing about the veil is that when you stick your hand through, the darkness can't creep past the hole that you made with your arm. It seems to like really, really tightly hold this area. And yeah, that's about it.
So from what we know about like this darkness, this is from the actual altar, right? Like this is like the orc
Yeah,
magic.
It's
You
the divinity of Shigara, yeah?
Yeah, in a way, yes. It's kind of like how his godlike aura kind of emanating out into the forest.
That's how it was explained to us, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can think about it as his aspect. Like, that's sort of what I've interpreted it as. So, like, remembering he's, like, a god of... Well, like we said a couple of sessions ago, the god of imperialism.
Thanks!
That's sort of his thing. I mean, it kind of just, in a word, encompasses his whole thing. Am I wrong?
No. Alright, so what do you do?
And real quick, just to make sure, my abilities come from Shigara, correct?
Well,
You don't know that.
where does Moonlight come from?
The moon? Like,
Wait, Morgan
I
might
thought
not
we-
know that. Moonlight comes from the sun.
Well, I'm mostly just talking about because
Really gets the noggin jogging there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Morgan, but continue.
like I know like the 2 sessions ago there
Yep.
was the realization that my abilities were directly connected to Shigara's.
You know that there is a clear connection between you
Stolen.
and Shigara.
Moonlight is stolen sunlight.
So, would it be possible to manipulate what?
You are more than welcome to try.
What do you want me to roll for that? Because I'm definitely gonna try and do that.
You could probably
Okay.
use it to hide your presence. Like, you could probably go out there and be
Yeah,
Let
like,
me
that's
answer
what
that
I want-
question,
'cause
Ken.
that's what I want to do.
You can let me answer that question, Ken.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Roll as if you're casting a spell.
As if we're casting
A spell.
by-
Or no, unless you want specifically to harness your moonlight here.
Yeah, because I'm trying to specifically.
Okay.
harness it.
You could probably
Try it,
flavor
okay.
it like you're
Yeah, no,
creating an
roll it.
object, yeah.
Roll your summon moonlight. All right. Choose from that list.
Oh, anything?
Either one of those
change
things.
shape?
You want it to change shape? Okay. So, but this means that it will be very short-lived because you didn't choose the. It won't be instantaneous. There was one that makes it last longer than instantaneous. But anyways, you take your hand, put your hand through the veil, and visions and you have a flash of a few sessions ago. Remember, like the whole red electricity kind of literally disintegrating you in your dream or in your vision. Those painful flashes course through you, and you can feel again all the moments of when every single part of your being was being destroyed, one inch at a time. But through the pain, you feel something. You kind of realize something, and you course your fingers through the darkness. And it does seem to almost wrap around your hand like a glove, at least the arm that has stuck through the veil at this moment. What shape do you want to make it?
I'm gonna turn it into a cloak.
All right. So, you try to pull the veil. You try to pull the shadows through the veil, but the shadows themselves are actually being kept out by the veil at the moment. So you're gonna have to step past the veil.
I'm gonna step out and form it into a cloak.
So as you step through it, and you take the darkness and you wrap it around your back like a shawl into a cloak, it forms into almost like a million feathers of black darkness, in the shape of very familiar to Iridan's feathers, because that's the first thing you thought of, because you're so close with your animal buddy, aren't you? And it wraps around your body almost like a shade, and as you do that, the pain from the vision shocks you again, and you lose the form of the cloak. But you were able to, even if for just a brief moment. And you turn around, you're now past the veil. It's kind of hard to see, but the expression of Liz, Vin, and Nura are just of astonishment right now. And Wesley, surprisingly enough, didn't see anything. Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Morgan's gonna tell them to stay within the veil, and
Okay.
she's going to scout ahead.
And as they speak through the veil, they actually couldn't hear you.
Oh,
So you notice that
something like this.
like you get an idea that sound and light and vision is distorted, because the further you kind of like take a step back from the veil, and you notice that their bodies start to disappear, and you see almost like a mirage of trees and darkness, as if the veil wasn't there. And you step closer, and it becomes a little bit clearer that they're still there, because you know what you're looking for.
so I'm
And
gonna poke my head back through it, and
you startle Lyle. It's like, where'd you come from? You disappeared. And like he falls on his ass as your head kind of pops through, and all they see right now is your head floating on some darkness through the veil.
God, I love Lyle as the teen weenie.
he's doing his best. All right.
He's trying his hardest.
Right. It's one of those.
So I'm going to go scout ahead. Don't follow me. I'll be back. Just secure the area around the veil. Also, Alex, who was the one that wanted to set up traps?
It was Liz, who is the trap expert.
Liz,
Yes.
you may set up traps only around the veil. Subtle ones.
And Liz is like, yes, I mean, yes, of course, light touch. And she's really excited. And she like digs into her pack and starts taking out some of very small contraptions. You notice that in the center of these little traps are thin little needles and ichor kind of like dripping out of it.
Hey, just so I'm clear for when this is explained to us later, are these traps like around the edge of it or around the inside of it? What did you tell her to do?
Around the, she would say around the edge of it.
Around the edge of it, so outside of it, yeah.
And Liz says, okay, so these traps here will make them go nap for a very long time, and they may or may not wake up ever again. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
And she looks over to Nura, and then she looks over to her twin sister, and she like has a look of glee on her face, and she kind of scares off. And Vin goes, I'll make sure she's not in trouble, and follows after her. And Nura says to Lyle, gestures over to Lyle, and they come over. And Wesley goes, we will scout the perimeter. Stay safe.
I plan to.
All right, and we're gonna put a pause on that, and we're gonna head over to Khalgrast. Khalgrast, right now you are just kind of walking around the camp. Rugar is kind of humming softly to himself while picking out some dried nuts from a pack that he may or may not have smuggled through the portal. Kind of like nibbling, and then he sees these random flora around. He's like, ooh, that looks delicious, and he kind of picks it up and stuffs it in the mouth and eats it. And you know, orcs have an iron stomach, so they can digest anything.
Okay, good, because I was like,
so he's just kind of like enjoying. And the three knights with you, the names again are Matthias, Richter, and Brom. Richter being the really tall one. Richter was the one with the crossbow, my bad. Brom being the one with the tall one. Brom, again, being the dude that was huffing and puffing his chest. Richter doesn't say much. He just kind of keeps the crossbow and is kind of scanning around the area. And Matthias is following closely behind you, Khalgrast and Drugar. What are you guys doing?
I mean, we're patrolling. We're looking for any signs of orcs.
Okay.
Orc scouts from here, orc ambush. I mean, those fucking elf hunters are pretty mean.
They are indeed pretty mean. And as you're kind of walking through, you feel this thrum of energy as you look down, and at the back of your mind you hear Voss, first time in a while. Says, oh, that is indeed very interesting. Look to your right, Khalgrast, and do you look to your right? Do you listen, or do you just kind of look forward?
Alright, look to my right.
Okay. You look to your right, and you notice this pulse of energy pushing from where you were from the camp, and the darkness getting pushed away. Have you ever seen oil and soap?
Yep.
That science experiment?
Yeah,
It's like that.
Okay.
Like that, where like someone drops the dollop of soap in the middle of oil, and it kind of pushes out to the edge. Looks very much like that.
So much for subtlety.
In Khalgrast, as it happens, you hear winces of pain in the trees above you.
Elf hunters. I murder them.
You murder them, and as that happens, Drugar says, "Oh, I get to smash orcs!" Then he kind of throws his nuts to the side. Okay, no, his dried food to the side, pulls out his battle axe, and the three knights immediately. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Khalgrast, you brandish your fists, and 6 elf hunters, you notice around their necks, loads and loads of elf ears, drop to the ground, and they're clutching their head in pain.
Well, I throw my magma at them.
Oh, you're testing out your new ability?
Oh my god, yeah, this is perfect.
Roll hack and slash, please.
Just see how well they burn.
Yeah, how well do they burn? And the knights with you. Oh my. Okay, I guess they're gonna burn.
Hey, they burn pretty well.
Please
I
don't
guess
start a forest fire.
I like my
Hush now.
flame broil.
See, the thing is, he rolled an 11, so he has a strong grasp on it. If he had rolled a 6, oh man, that would have been bad.
Oh yeah, you would have been in trouble. All right, do you want me to actually hurt these people? Because they're gonna die.
I mean, rolled for damage.
Okay.
Oh, it's 1. You're still getting the hang of it, but you get to roll your merciless, right?
Yeah, bloodthirsty actually.
Yeah, because you buffed it.
Ugh.
Oh, wow. So 3. And describe how you throw out the magma from your fists.
I smash them together and just kind of like swing them like you would like if you're in a pool and you're gonna throw like make a wave or make a splash. So I just splash them. I splash them with a little bit of magma.
You just clap your hands together and splash them with a little bit of magma. 3 of them immediately they clutch their chest as their holes are made in their bodies of flame, and just the stench of burning orc flesh fill the air. And immediately Matthias, Richter, and Brom, they all kind of charge forward, and Rugar just runs up and just immediately cuts one in half, followed with Matthias and Brom kind of like doing their thing with their longswords and their halberds. Richter gets a quick headshot.
Talison's not the only one with fireballs.
God damn it.
Jackass.
Taliesin, you just sneeze randomly.
It's coming whenever you can throw water balls too.
And
Why would I want to do that?
and in the snap, you dealt with the 6 orc.
Well, that made things easy. Voss, are you okay?
Voss he doesn't appear from your shoulder, but you do hear, well, you see, Khalgrast, you're quite useful for things such as shielding me from magic like that.
Good to know, actually, especially if we're gonna have to deal with those dwarves later on.
Oh, yes, be careful about those.
I'm well aware. I'm good at killing things like you.
You know, actually, you know what? I'll let you figure it out on your own. This is gonna be fun, and his presence leaves your mind.
Finally, some peace and quiet.
Well, that's a lot of faith Voss is putting in Taliesin there.
I wouldn't count on that. That was response to, not to Taliesin, that was response to finally some peace and quiet. Khalgrast, you know that he will never leave. He's there, but he's not there. This is constant kind of like cat and mouse thing that you're playing with each other. But who's the cat? Who's the mouse? Who knows? Anyways.
They are both cat mice.
Yes. But you notice as the darkness leaves the area, you just hear thud, 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 thud. And you're going to be hunting for a while. As the elf hunters just fall out of the trees.
Alright. Start the count.
Alright, so he starts counting, and you have 3 right now, and he has 1. And so you go on for roll another hack and slash for me, as these elf hunters are clutching their heads as they drop down. What the fuck? Okay, so
I'm good at a thing? I mean, that's...
It's fair point. Roll. Alright, so now he's gonna roll. His hack and slash. Jesus. He's pretty good at what he does. He rolls a 7. Oh no. He's gonna get pretty tired after the first set. So you end up pretty far ahead after this.
You're in practice, buddy.
And it says, not used to running in forest.
The trick is not to run.
Yeah, he's wasting a lot of his stamina right now. All right, so we head back over to the main camp. Taliesin, you checking up on Alma right now, and she's taking her time, riding the monkey, having the time of her life right now. And you just hear as you come from the tower at the top of her lungs, "This is so fucking fun!" And she's riding right now.
I'm just gonna kind of like lean on the side of the pillar here. And
Alma immediately sees you where you are, jumps off the Ankeg, does a quick little flip and twirl in the air, lands on her feet, and with a spring in her
Did it
step.
look better than Baldric's?
Yes.
Damn it.
She lands and
really outdone yourself.
and Alma, she's like, they're really fun. I've never met them before, but they're really fun. Did you want something, Taliesin?
Just checking up on everybody. We're set on the shield. They shouldn't be able to see us now.
Oh, that's good. I didn't notice it. And she looks to the ground. Oh, there's no more darkness. That's really good. Wait, that means, and you notice her feet kind of, gets dug into the ground a little bit, and she gets an inch shorter, but you realize her feet are now completely submerged into the ground.
I know, she's taking root.
There's gonna be more of her. She actually quite literally takes fruit, and she breathes in, and you notice green energy kind of coursing, almost kind of breathing life back into the earth. And she sighs and says, "Oh, I haven't felt that in a while."
Hey, can you take back this section of the wood?
She opens her eyes and says, "Can I? Probably. Will I? Maybe." And she kind of scratches her chins. It's like, yeah, I can. And she looks back up at you. And, well, I mean, it depends. I have a connection to the Earth again, which is great, which is bloody fucking great. But, I'm not sure if I can hold it. I mean, can Mr. Brown, Mr. White-haired person, older Taliesin up there do what you can do? Can he maintain that?
Oh, that's what he's doing up there. It looks like the wizards I brought will be fully for keeping us safe, but I suppose that works.
Well, if it is permanent, I can breathe life back into the woods. As you can see, and you kind of look down, like most of the wood has like its life kind of drained from it. But then looks back to you and says, "Well, if we do manage to close the altar or whatever the fuck it is, I can probably bring the energies back to the Silver Forest. Might take time, but I learned Druid Sleep from the Orc Shaman, so I could totally try doing that.
Okay.
Hopefully this time people protect me better." She kind of crosses her arms and pouts.
Yeah, we'll set you with a better retinue this time. Might not be worth the energy to bother reclaiming this area. We're gonna have to abandon this shield whenever we head into the mines.
Oh, all right, that works.
It's
If
not
that's
gonna
the
sustain
case,
itself, unfortunately.
what I can do though is kind of give you the layout. Oh wait, I can feel some of the mines under there. And she kind of like wiggling her toes to the earth, kind of rumbles around her feet. She kind of scratches her head.
Now we're talking.
Huh. Interesting. I sense things down there. Oh.
Hey, I'm gonna start rumbling through my pack. I mean, you got any artistic talent?
I mean, sailors taught me how to draw women.
Alright, well, the mines are probably
Perfect.
gonna have straighter lines, so it should be easier, and I just give her a pencil and some paper. Just however much, like a scroll, like a scroll of paper.
All right, well, I'll make sure to draw the crevices real deep. Wait, that's what the sailors told me. This is gonna be a little bit difficult. And she kind of like,
Just strive for accuracy here.
and she twists her ankles and creates a stone chair that comes up very much like how Toph does it in the Avatar.
Yeah.
And she sits down, and she sticks out. She's totally the girl that sticks out her tongue while she draws. She sticks out her tongue, and she's drawing for the life of her right now. She's off doing that while Roscoe is still trying to perfect turning into an Ongay right now.
Can't really get the carapace the right color, huh? Neon blue.
Yeah,
Right
right
now?
now, it's just the fact that there's fur on like a carapace is just so unsettling to you. And we head
It
back
makes me
down.
think of Umber Hulks.
Yes, and
Furry beetles.
Yeah, you're right. And we head back down over to where Baldric is, and Freak comes up and leans over, and he has a small tray of food, and leans over and says, "Baldric, this is some food for you."
Oh, thank you. I offer some to Harold as well.
And oh yes, and this tonic, I did notice you had a wisp with you.
I nod. Kind of lift up my hat
And Sasha pops up. I don't have the squeaky toy next to me, otherwise I'd squeak it. But
He just looks like a little sleepy Kirby on top of his head.
it wakes up and it does like a smile, says, and like a little. It's actually grown quite big. It's actually grown quite. It's much larger than you're used to. And you notice something about Sasha. Every time it moves, like it moves down to your shoulder, a small trail of stardust leaves in its wake.
Interesting.
And Baldric, Freak goes, Master Muthin says that wisps They do not really need to sustain on mortal foods, but Muthen has come across on many a wisp on his travels, and says that this little tonic over here is good for them. And it takes out a very small kind of vial. God damn it, Taliesin!
Don't you goddamn it me! You're the one who did it!
And in the vial, there is a blue liquid almost. It's like no more than the width of your fingernail. And Freak says, Muthen apologizes ahead of time. There really is no other way but to pour it on top of him. I know it's a bit barbaric. Anyways, this is your food. Harold, I will get your tray as well. And Freak kind of goes off again.
Wasn't Harold already eating the dwarf's food?
Oh, oh yes. Oh yes.
He's just gonna get
But-
double portions.
Yeah, yep, no.
Anyways, I want to lean over to the guy who was chatting me.
Yeah, Bromdet, that's his name. I'll write it down for you.
Yeah. And I just say, so, you're telling me that just for giving you one dwarf, you'll establish relations with Ornithia. That's quite
Yes.
a generous offer.
Oh, yes. You see, Khalgrast broke our greatest deal. We can't have him running around. You see, dwarves have a image to maintain. Isn't that right, Mugen and Satine? And the both of them just kind of continue to eat their food in quiet.
I understand. You seem to have done your research on me as well.
And Bromdet...
You're quite
gives
the
it-
intelligent man, aren't you? Or
He-
dwarf,
he-
sorry.
Yeah, dwarf. He smiles ear to ear and says, "I know my things."
Well, unfortunately, I'll have to decline. I would prefer to, I guess you could say, make my fame through more honorable means.
And when you mention honor, Satine nearly chokes on her food. And Bromdet kind of reels back, no longer an inch from your face. Kind of scoffs and says, "Very well. I will honor your decision. Let us hope that it does not bite you in your human arse." And Harold speaks up and says, "You know, I quite like his arse. It's quite nice." Continues to eat
Wait,
his
when
food.
have you seen it?
He doesn't respond, he just continues to eat.
Anyways,
We did travel together for like 6 months.
Good answer.
there was probably
Good
some
answer.
bathing.
I'm pretty sure we bathed together in that photo. I mean, that's kind of like that's canon.
Yeah, Harold.
Yeah,
Harold's the one holding the
bath is
camera.
canon.
Wait, was Harold the one scrubbing our backs?
No, Harold's the one holding
No.
the camera. We're in the tub.
Oh, okay, got it.
Or that's his
Anyways.
perspective when he came home like drunk one night. And, I'm just gonna go to bed actually.
Harold tends to be the type of person that he was very kind of distant at first, but after you get to know him, he's a sarcastic son of a bitch.
hmm So, anyways, I turned to this guy, whose name
His
I
name
can't
is-
remember,
Is Mugen.
Mugen, and I say,
Yep.
would you mind marking the tunnel entrances on here?
Yeah, he marks the tunnel entrance
Nice.
when we go to the main map. I'll mark the tunnel entrance.
Yeah. And I say, it's been a bit of a heavy conversation. How about some light music? And I just take out my mandolin and start playing.
And Sasha kind of plays along with it. And before, the size of Sasha would not get bigger than about the size of a grape. And like it's obviously like there's energy around him that makes him bigger, but the core is about the size of a grape. He's not the size of an orange.
Also, I pour some of the tonic on Sasha.
And as you take a nice little thunk and you pour some of the tonic, you notice it kind of absorbs into Sasha's skin, and Sasha has a face. You know, like just 2 little black dots and a smile. And it becomes so elated and it wiggles in happiness. And then it rubs against your shoulder so gently. It's not like that. It's more like it's more like a permanent this.
That's
I want
even
to try.
better.
I want to try to scratch its head.
And again, the core used to be the size of a grape, and now it's the size of an orange. It's very more prominent, as if Sasha is growing. And after being infused with, remember, you had to channel Sasha. Like, Taliesin just squished him and made a squeaky noise. And it's a two-way street. Something about Sasha seems very different. And for the first time, you hear, Baldric!
I dropped my mandolin.
And then the music stops and it gets sad.
I pick up the mandolin and start playing.
Baldric!
I drop the mandolin. No, I'm kidding.
And it just has the very happy, and that's the word it says. And Harold just stops eating, just looks at Sasha and looks at you, and just with food still in his mouth. Have you ever done that before? He says, has he ever done that before while food is still in his mouth?
No, this is the first time I've ever heard Sasha's voice.
Shit, this is getting weird. And he continues to eat.
You're saying
like
that now. A talk like this
Yeah,
is
I
the
know.
weirdest thing you have heard.
And we put a pause on that. As Sasha said his first word. Alright. We head over to where Morgan is, about an hour past the Veil. What are you doing?
I'm still trying to attempt to meld the shadows around me.
Okay, you can roll again. Okay, so what would you like to do?
Can I make it so I can see clearer through it, the mist?
No. Only the mist was by the Veil. When you're walking through, the darkness is only on the ground. Like, remember, ever since you entered the forest, there's just this malaise kind of encompassing the roots.
Think about it like a
Oh.
fog. Think about it like a fog, like trailing, like a mist trailing on the ground, but it's actually like pitch black.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
okay.
pitch
That's
black.
kind of
Got
how
it.
I'm. Yeah.
Alright.
And maybe like out, you can't maybe see as far because it starts to get hazy and dark, but you can still. It's still like
You
daylight.
can see,
it's still daylight.
but not only that, like your eyes have attuned to this darkness by now, and there it's darkness and kind of foggy gray black mist all the time with like streaks of red coursing through it.
Okay. Alright, we're gonna do the same thing, except we're gonna make it instantaneous. We're still gonna form the cloak
Mm-hmm.
around myself, because we're still trying to hide. And every time she does this, I want to make it. I want to flavor it in a way that Morgan is trying to understand how
Okay.
to manipulate the.
You may
shadows
sprout
around.
more on top of that roll.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, it's hard. It's too hard to tell. Like, by the time you can, most of you can mark another failure. Sorry, get experience for that. But every time you try to put the cloak on you, like you're so focused, like you have to focus so much of your mental acuity and mental strength to maintain whatever this instantaneous kind of darkness that envelops around you. But by the time you start to think about how you can create it, it's just gone.
That's fine. I know a guy.
I know a guy. So anyways, you range about another hour, trying every 10 minutes or so to kind of make this, but it's just you're not getting a lot of work through. It's hard to tell because you're also focusing on staying stealthy, you're focusing on cutting the time short because you've automatically succeeded on those two things. And you're about an hour past, and you notice something. You see the signs of an orc troop moving in the forest.
Ooh, perfect. How many?
About 20. And as you kind of move closer, you notice something. You end at a clearing of trees. And as you look past, for about a good solid hour, it's hard to tell distance, but as far as your eyes can see, all the trees have been cleared. And a band of orcs.
Single tier.
So yeah, it's pretty bad. You look up towards the sky, and again, it's covered in this dark pitch black, but very far away, you can see the altar with red energy coursing into the sky, pulsing. And with every pulse, you can see red energy streaking through the misty darkness, coursing past. like a heartbeat, again and again and again. And also you hear just a constant thrum of drums beating and playing in this rhythmic kind of ensemble. And and it's hard to see again because it's really, really, really far. But this constant ritual being played in distance. And as you're by the clearing, they haven't seen you because you auto succeed on those rolls. You see this troop of orcs, and there's about 20 of them. All of them are riding on these massive hulking wargs. And it seems that every time the wargs touch the ground, the darkness clings to their feet, and when they lift it, the darkness drops to the ground again. And they're walking around. Just patrolling, they haven't seen you, but there's 20 of them. What do you do?
We're gonna take note of how many are there, what they're riding, what weapons they have. Are there any other like defensive
Discern realities, please.
All right, I can do that.
Man, you are...
And
Oof.
classic Morgan.
I'm sorry. But, you've rolled...
It's more experience, so, you know.
Yeah, definitely more experience for that. But market experience. But, you're too distracted by the fact that pretty much, like, hundreds and hundreds of acres of trees have been cut down to notice. You're just welled up with rage right now, and anger, to really discern anything. So what do you do?
Well, I can't linger here any longer because
You get the feeling that, although
that
this...
patrol's gonna come back.
Yeah, the patrol eventually is going to come back, but you notice there's another patrol. And you can count right now just a general number, like there's about 100 orcs just constantly running around, like walking around this edge of the clearing.
Awesome. So roughly 100 on wargs.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's all I really wanted. So Morgan's gonna book it back.
Yeah, you can book it back.
100 works.
So as you start to make your way back, we go back to camp with Khalgrast. And after like a good hour of killing, you notice that there is quite a few elf killers. Like you've killed about like 30. Khalgrast killed about 16. The other 3 knights are...
Is that weird? Because, I mean, like, they're literally here to fight elves. I mean,
They are here to fight elves, but like they were all literally catatonic when you run up to them, as if the darkness being thrust out of them so violently had caused them to go crazy.
I mean, that's whatever that thing, I mean, I understand cause and effect.
So, 3 knights are having a tough time keeping up with you two, but they're keeping their own. So what do you do with all this information?
Oh, well, it's time to, I mean, as soon as we're finished, like, murdering most of them, we're gonna go report back to Taliesin.
Alright, so the group of you, after doing the rounds quickly around the camp, you make your way back to, the tower. So, where do you want to go?
To Taliesin, right here, to right here, this guy.
Okay, you can move your character. We're back on the map.
Elf hunters. Hordes of them, at least 30. Just from what Rook got killed. 60 from me. Knights killed more. Whatever you did here, whatever ritual you've performed here, seems to have got them enfeebled.
Describe to me what they were like. Also, Alex, we can't move Drugar.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you just missed him. It's bound to happen with at least one, you know?
Yep. You can
Okay,
move him now.
Thank you.
It's like they were convulsing, almost like they had poison in them.
Okay. Hey, Alex, I want to spout lore.
Yeah, go ahead.
Remind me, do I need to, like, say what I'm trying to spout about before I roll, or after?
Before. You have to say before.
Okay.
I want to spout lore about what, and then
because
I'll tell you
need
what.
to, like, okay it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to say, like, what I think it is, that part of their will is being suffused by Shigara, since that is part of his deal as well. So whenever the shadow leaves them, their brains, or like their souls aren't really in control of their body, and they're like partially catatonic.
Well,
That's what I think it is.
Fortunately, Voss appears to be unaffected by it.
I'm quite all right.
That's not
You hear in both of
surprising.
your heads.
I mean, Voss has touched sunlight before, he's fine. So
But yeah, you can
roll...
sprout lore about that.
Okay.
One interesting thing. What you can feel is
Actually, could
We kinda
Khalgrast
get-
help me with that? Since he's giving
Go
me
on.
this good description.
Oh yeah, hold on.
And I
can
get a 10.
definitely.
no, make it a 10.
Yeah, so, I mean, that would be significant.
It's a +3 for a rank 2 bond or something. I'm trying to
No, it's
Plus
rank
two.
2.
You
Plus
add
two.
you
Plus
add
two.
together all of
Okay.
your bonds, yeah. We haven't done our third
Okay.
bonds. I think we're waiting for the next chapter to do that.
Yeah. Oh, there's gonna be some moments. I
Mhm.
can tell you that.
Yeah, I figure we'll come into them organically.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a 1, but Khalgrast, you know, it unsettles you a little bit. It does. But that's a +1, just enough to bring Taliesin over the edge to a 10. One interesting thing you can feel is, remember your whole escapade with death?
Mm-hmm.
Your whole escapade, like that out-of-body experience. You kind of remember the moment where you were kind of walking up the dusty and snowy steps to the Black Gates. You kind of get that image in your head when you think about it. And then what definitely I have to tell you is that they have a very strong connection, especially the elf hunters, to Shigara. And when the darkness was forcibly pushed from the ground, it also pushed it out of them, meaning that their connection to Shigara it's like snapping a bone in their mind. It's being a part of that entity and giving a part of your soul to that entity is as if part of your body is living with a part of Shigara is living within them. And when that darkness had been pushed out, it inadvertently shattered their connection to Shigara. Like as if the darkness is Shigara, it's himself.
Okay.
And in that moment, it just so sudden and so abrupt. It's like suddenly snapping your ribcage.
So let me make sure I understand this. So it's less what I said, and it's not that their will is being suffused. It's more that they're being connected to something that is then connected to everything else, and by removing it, it's more like losing an organ or a limb than it
Yes.
is. Okay. Yeah. Well, I say as much to Khalgrast.
Oh, that sounds painful.
Very much so.
It's something we can use, especially since we have a mobile Moonlight cannon, as long as she can keep it going at least.
Morgan sneezes.
You're not kidding. Well, I'll have to remember that. Where is Morgan? I don't return from scouting. I thought they'd beat us back here.
They're covering a lot more ground than you did. You just kind of did the perimeter of the actual.
Yeah.
They're also way faster.
Yeah, I mean it depends. Do you want? Morgan is really good, but the others are trying to keep up.
Also, the
Worst
area
case-
that the shield covered was a lot larger than we were expecting, so they do have kind of a big area to go through.
And Morgan, you kind of meet up again at the Vale. As you step through the Vale, you see in the corner of your eye, you see Nura kind of pointing a bow and arrow there, and seeing you and nods at you, and drops down. And followed by, she makes a whistle, and a few moments pass and some rustling. You notice the rest of your scouting party all comes back. You see Wesley, he seemed pretty exhausted, as if he's been creating those runes around very vigorously around the edge to make sure. You see Liz and Vin both, well, Vin stone-faced as normal, and Liz kind of skipping and hopping to her step as he's placed pretty much a numerable amount of traps around the surrounding areas. You come back and says, "So, Captain, what you find out there on your journey?"
The altar is guarded by roughly about 100.
No, that's only the perimeter. Only the perimeter. The amount of orcs.
Perimeter.
Yeah,
being
you have
guarded
no
by-
idea the amount of guards at the altar.
Yeah, that was more
Roughly
like
100.
like guarding the path up to the altar, right? Is my understanding.
No, just the perimeter, outskirts.
Okay,
Sort of like what
just
Khalgrast
around
and yeah, just sort of like what Khalgrast and Drugar were doing,
Okay.
except plenty.
What's the estimate on the radius of our little area here in the bubble?
In the bubble, about a kilometer. Sorry,
Okay.
let me think about that in miles.
That's much larger than I was expecting.
It's a 15-minute walk from one side to the other, essentially.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Muthin's pretty legit. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell about the 100 orcs on large wargs, and also note that whenever the wargs step, the shadows would envelop their legs.
Hmm. And they all seem very interested at this, and you see Wesley, most interested of all, kind of scratching his chin, and kind of nods, and is going to be pondering the rest of the way. And do you guys head back to town? Or not town, tower?
Yeah, we're going to head back to the tower.
And eventually, Khalgrast, halfway through your conversation, you see the scouting party come back from the north.
Oh, well. I'll get it much for where?
And
Right on cue.
as you'll come back, Baldric, you finish the meal with Baldric, who is now a lot less talkative with you. What do you do?
I'll politely excuse myself and say,
Okay.
well, I must be going and meet back up with my compatriots. We have much to discuss. Feel free to stop by and say hello.
And they all nod, except Baldric, who is just kind of giving you the stank eye right now.
And I kind of look over to him and I do a bow and I say, it was just nice meeting you.
Harold finishes off his chicken leg and follows you.
I go up with the map and I hand it to Taliesin and tell him these are the entrances to the tunnels. They say most of them are filled with orcs, but this one over here, it's a lot more dangerous. You know, lava flows, cliffs and whatnot, but probably less orcs.
Okay. Let them know that they need to be ready to go in the morning. They're welcome to join us to discuss what we're going to be doing tomorrow, but it isn't a choice. They're going to have to come with us, unless they want to be out here waiting for the orcs.
I don't think they have any desire to join us.
It doesn't matter. The shield will be gone when we leave.
More of
and-
join us in the talks, I mean.
Oh, well, I mean, what I mean is the shield will be gone when we leave, and we're not going to be able to waste time. We're going to get into those tunnels tomorrow.
And Alma comes out from her drawing and gives you a interestingly drawn map, and says, "Well, I did draw some of things because I had a strong connection to the Earth again. Thank you to old Taliesin up there." She points up to the tower. She kind of goes on her tippy toes and sees the map that Baldric has. Oh, if you're thinking about going that way, there's a problem. The one safe path with the lava flowing and not filled with orcs.
Oh.
Oh, there's an ancient dragon living down there.
I'm sorry, what?
Yo, what, huh?
There's an ancient dragon. Did I fucking stutter?
Hey, Alex, what do I know about dragons?
You may sprout lore.
Bet.
You did it.
One interesting thing is that dragons are known to find places where it is very hard to reach them to create their hordes. And one very important thing about this is that all the orcs seem to have avoided this area specifically.
Okay. What about just the nature of like, are they?
Oh, just dragons. No, so yeah, I'll give you
Yeah,
more
also
information
just
on
in
that.
general. I need to know what dragons are in this setting. Is what I'm
In
saying.
the setting,
Alex.
they are
Yeah.
sentients. They are ancients. No one fucks with them. Period.
Like they don't like mortal races at all. Then yeah.
Less that they don't like them, and more that they're very territorial. Number one, they're sentient. They can speak common. But most dragons tend to deal with their own. They tend to deal with their own ilk. They do not like dealing with the. I wouldn't call them. They don't view other races as lesser races, but they're more like they don't want to get into the politics of them because they have been used in the past to wage wars. They have been used in the past to. People have tried to tame them. People have stolen their eggs. That's the big important thing. People have stolen their eggs to raise them to fight as dragon knights. And dragon knights are not really seen much anymore in the world. In fact, it's been a very long time since a dragon knight has been seen because wyverns are different, eagles are different. Like again, the what's it called? Iridan is a griffin. They're a lot more common, but no offense to Iridan, but Iridan is nothing compared to a giant, massive dragon about the size of like 15 monster trucks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, straight up. Hey, Baldric. Why don't you Baldric lore me some?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Baldric.
I need to know some like stuff like about local legends here. Is there like a dragon? Do you have a name for me? Give me the Baldric lore.
You want me to roll for that, Alex?
No, you have arcane lore.
You have a mechanic. You have a mechanic we haven't used in like 6 sessions.
Yeah.
Actually, more like 10.
Yeah, Bardic lore. You don't have to roll at all.
I was doing a pun there. Sorry, Bardic lore. Yes.
You can read it.
Your Baldric lore.
That's pretty good.
So basically, let's see. I can ask the GM one question.
Yes, and I can tell it to you in narratively in form of a song or a story.
Yes, I imagine there's like a legend or there's some tale of a dragon.
So, what would you recommend me asking then?
I mean, I want to know a story that will tell me the nature of this dragon. Like, what kind of being is this? Like, so this dragon had like dealings with the elves and the dwarves maybe at the same time at some point a long time ago, and the way that it dealt with the problem that basically the dwarves and elves were arguing and it bothered the dragon, and how it solved the problem should reflect its personality so that I know something about it.
Yeah, I want to know if there's any connection that it had with the dwarves and elves and why it cut that off.
Maybe local orcs too, because aren't there also local orcs?
And then local orcs just avoided that area, probably because there's a fucking dragon there.
That's fair too. But the elves think they own the forest, and the dwarves think they own the underground, and so they probably wouldn't think twice until the dragon was actually upset.
So, is that the question you asked me?
Yes.
Long ago, there was the beginning, and people tend to not remember. But one thing was there, and one thing still remains. His name was End. Simply that. End was a dragon, and he brought many things to the elves and the dwarves. Mostly the elves. He brought life, he brought mana, he brought magic and power. End used to be loved and seen by all. But as the years passed, and as his connection with the world grew weak, as well as his kin, because as we remember, much of his kin has been hunted or abused and stolen, and had left into the Silver Forest. Seldom seen again. No one knows where End is, but they know he's there, waiting and watching for someone worthy to come by. Pray that if you do find him, it is not the end for you. And Bunt.
Hey, so while this story is like being told by Baldric, I just slowly get a bigger and bigger grin on my face, and I kind of look down over to Khalgrast.
I don't like where this is going.
I don't say anything. I let Baldric finish the story.
Yeah, Baldric does. That's the end of the story. As Baldric kind of recites this as a story you heard a long time ago as a younger lad, about the many dragons. Like it's like the general knowledge of dragons themselves. They tend to be kind of either revered or feared or non-belief. They're kind of like the unicorns of this world. It's like, oh, there's no such thing as a dragon. And midway through the story, you notice Sasha underneath Baldric's little hat and cloak. And as Baldric finishes the story, Sasha kind of crawls out, Taliesin!
Fuck! I clutch my chest. It's adorable.
And turns over.
Towns, you doing all right over there, bud?
No!
Morgan!
What?
And you see in the corner of your eye, Sasha peering from underneath Baldric's hat.
Oh, good. Another thing that shouldn't talk and does.
Khalgrast!
Yeah, that's me.
Do you want to go give Khalgrast a hug?
It has no arms.
It floats underneath, from underneath Baldric's head and kind of floats where you are and nuzzles your shoulder. Khalgrast!
I'm fine with this.
That's its way of hugging.
And it seems to grow bigger by the day, strangely.
Okay. So, here's the plan. We still got some hours left in the day. If Amma and the Ankeg start, they can probably just find a place within this area, it's so big, that we can dig into that part of the tunnel.
Amma perks up, turns over to the Ankegs. Alright, you fucking maggots, start digging! And
Yeah,
they start digging.
you get on that.
And,
Hey, Morgan!
Yes.
Moon Princess, get over here.
Just gonna squint her eyes at you and then go over there anyway.
Talisin's got that look in his eye.
Oh, I've seen that before.
So there's a dragon underneath us.
I have spoken with nearly every animal in this land.
Yeah, no, they speak common. Don't worry about that part.
So I have to go for...
Well, repeat the little rhyming couplet about, like, you know, and there he rests until, you know, someone worthy. And I look at Morgan, and you got that twinkle in my eye.
I have seen that look in your eye before. Oh, okay.
And that is where we're going to end the session. With the revelation of Taliesin has to look in the eye again.
Woo!
Alright, so end of session.
Plan, yeah.
End of session. Did you learn about something interesting about the world? Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone marks one experience, and you didn't do the others. You didn't loot something, and you didn't kill someone of importance.
Despite my assertion that friendship is in fact a treasure that we loot every session, no, we did not get any significant loot.
Not this time. I'm only giving that to you in like really big moments, but no. Anyways. Yep. Dragon.
Wait, did I use my magic to directly aid another? Alignments, don't forget those.
Yeah, alignments.
Khalgrast definitely... Well, did he defeat a worthy foe? I don't know.
No.
But did I use my magic, is what I'm asking.
Directly aid another? I mean, yeah, you helped Muthan. I guess I'll slide that.
Bet, we level 9! We level 9!
Alright, Morgan, what was your alignment?
Endanger yourself to combat an unnatural threat. I did not endanger my...
No, you kind of did.
You went alone in the middle of a fucking dark, dank forest.
If you had failed any of those tests, you would have been spotted by the shaman. Like, hands down. They would have seen you.
Yeah, okay. I get. Yep. I'll take it.
We have the
Baldric, what was your alignment again? Avoid a
conflict or diffuse a tense situation.
I mean, the whole thing with Brondon is really intense.
Yeah, that's still tense.
Very, very tense in just a different way. It's not combat oriented, but very tense.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I diffused it.
No,
No.
from your attitude, you kept Brondon from using something over you and using something over Khalgrast. Because, see, I'm gonna tell you did get it because there's a lot of things behind the scenes that I am moving, and Khalgrast knows some of it. He knows some of it, and by you saying no to him, diffused the situation that you did not know of yet.
Mm.
It's not like I'm sitting.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not like I'm setting up for the next arc or anything.
That's why I'm okay taking a backseat right now.
I'm sorry, did I take away the chance you had to RP with them, Pico?
What? No, I didn't want to do that.
Well, fuck them.
Okay, I'm just checking to make sure I didn't overstep on that.
You didn't step on my toes, no.
Khalgrast
would not want to deal with dwarves at all.
But everyone will have their moment. We're pushing towards the end game for this arc here, and then it's just, whew. Ooh. Oof. Anyways, I know you have to go to sleep here a little bit earlier here, Morgan. But next week we will continue to the fucking mines where there's a fucking dragon.
I guess I gotta talk to a dragon. All right, this will be fun.
Sounds fun.
Okay. It was fun, guys.
Hell yeah.
Good session.
I'm gonna go and
Good
level up
stuff.
while I'm sitting here.
Are you okay, Alex?
I think he's more than okay.
It's kind of deranged.
Listen, so many things going on right now.
I know that feeling.
And will I have the opportunity to re-prepare my spells here tonight before you get going in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. I need to determine what my new spell is, but I'm probably not going to prepare it. Just wait.
Alright, I will catch you guys later. Have a good night.
Later. I'm not bounced.
Later.
Later.
Night.
Night.